All Algs and other info will be in the description. So the first step solving the FTO is the white center. We're going to be using Diansheng color scheme, and Diansheng color scheme looks like this, where it's blue, red, and purple clockwise in that order. So here on this diagram, I have to locate the blue edge first, and I have it right here. So what I want to do is I want to keep this in the front layer, and then for building the white center, we're going to be using mostly front, top, and back. So I have to locate the red white edge, and I see it right here. So what I have to do is move this to the back like so, and then move this on top of here, and then we're going to move this down here like so. Let's say you have this case where the red edge is right here, but we need to place this red edge over here. So we can get this out by simply just doing an F move and then taking it out like this, and then put this blue edge back here, and then move this red edge down here like so. So now, after solving red edge, we're going to be looking for purple edge, and I see it's right over here. So same thing for red edge, we move it to the back, and then we move it to the top. And oh yeah, and also I forgot to mention, move this non-white edge over here, so that way we can put purple here, and then now we move purple in here like so. So now you should have this. Make sure that's blue, red, and purple in that order. Now next we're going to be solving the white triangles. So right off the bat I see we have this white triangle over here. So we move the white triangle over here, and we're going to use the Sledge alg, and it's right here. You can also find the description, of course. So the Sledge alg, it's kind of like in Cube. So you've probably seen this case before. It's simply just doing that, and it's the same moves applied to FTO. So here it's R prime, L, R, L prime, and that's how we insert white triangle. And now we're gonna look for another white triangle. So here we can move this non-white triangle up here, and then look for a white triangle. So here I see this one, so we're gonna move this to the back like so, and then move it on top of here like so. And now we move this white triangle into here by doing the Sledge alg, R prime, L, R, L prime, and then do the same thing. So move this here, find the other white triangle, so here it is, move this to the top, and then Sledge. All right. So the next step is that we're gonna find a triple, or well, basically it's gonna be like this, where you see a corner, and then you have to pair up the corner with the triangles. So here for this corner, it's purple and red, and then just insert like so. So that's what we're gonna be doing. So we're doing 2 triples. So we have to find a white corner first. So here I see this corner, so we're going to move this in the front, and now we have to find the triangles for this corner. So this corner is purple and blue, so we have to find purple triangle first, because we have this next to the middle layer. So we're going to be using the middle layer to insert the triangles. So here we have purple, so we gotta look for a purple triangle in the middle layer, and I see one right here. So I'm gonna move this purple triangle to here by doing an M move like so. So now we're ready for the next triangle. So how to flip this corner is that we simply just do U prime R like so, and we have to find blue triangle, but here we got lucky, and blue triangle is already in. Yeah, so now we just have to move this into this white center. All right, let's say that there is like no blue triangle in the middle layer. Then we have to do an R prime to put this down, and then we're gonna be looking for a blue triangle that's on this top layer. So I see this blue triangle, and we're gonna be doing a U move or a U prime move to move it into the middle layer, and then we will put this back up and then solve the blue triangle. Here it's already solved. The moment we just do an R. Something that I actually forgot to mention is that sometimes there will be, like for the first triangle, there is like no purple triangle for this corner. So of course, we'll just do R prime and then look for a purple edge on top. And here, there's no purple edge, I mean, not purple edge, purple triangle. But there's no purple triangle here. So this is interesting. So that means that purple triangles are going to be on the left layer. So as you can see here. So the answer is simple. Just do an L move. And then now we have purple triangles on top layer, and then just do a U move or U prime. So move into the middle layer, move this corner back up, and now we solve this triangle to this corner like so. So now that you have a corner that has both triangles solved, now what we're going to do next is we're going to put this into onto the white center. So first thing we have to look for is find the corresponding edges. So this corner is purple and blue, so we gotta look for purple and blue edges. So obviously we can't put it over here. Over here, now it's good because purple and blue. Now here, of course, we can't just do a U move because it needs to be flipped. So how to do that is very simple. We just do a wide R move. So now the white is not on top layer. So just move it in, and now it's connected. So now what you need to do next is simply just move this corner into the back, and now we're going to move on to our next corner to solve. So here, gotta look for any white corner. So we have one here or here. Let's just do this one. And next, of course, same thing as usual. We just try to find triangles in the middle layer. So we have purple. There is no purple triangle in the middle layer, so we're going to do R prime. Now I see some on top layer, so move that in the middle layer. We could do this one or this one. We'll just do this one, and then just do an R, and now it's paired up. And then we're going to flip this like so, and well, it's already been solved. But it will be the same thing if you don't get this. Like, let's just say you flip this, and now you're going to look for a red triangle. So we have one here, here. Just do an M move. So like use this triangle, or use this triangle at the bottom by doing an M move here like so. And then of course, let me just try and set this up. Hold on. Okay, but basically, if there's like, let's just say like where you do an R prime and there's no red triangle up like on here, you'll probably just find a red triangle over here. So just do an L move, and now there's one over here. So now you pair it up like so. Okay. Anyways, so now next is same thing as we did for this corner. So we just had to pair this up with the corresponding edges. So not here, but here because it's red and purple. Now we match it up, and now you should have this. This is the first block, so your white center should not be messed up or anything like that. And you should still have, you know, your previous triple and your new triple. So you should have this first block, and make sure that both triples are on the bottom and top layer is free to move. So the next step is to solve the gray center. So what we need to look for is the blue gray edge. So I don't see, so this isn't it, this is not it. Over here, and now we have the gray blue edge. So we want to move this onto the front face, and we want to make sure that this blue edge is right here. So let's just say you have the blue edge on the front face, but it's not here. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this up to the top layer, do a U move or U prime move, then to move it over here, then you put it down. So now blue edge is here, and the next edge we're going to look for is the red edge. So basically for Diansheng color scheme, the order is blue, red, and yellow. Okay, clockwise, counterclockwise, blue, red, and yellow for Diansheng color scheme. So we gotta look for red. So here's red, and we put it down here, like so. Now let's say we have the red edge over here instead of being like somewhere else. So we can simply take this out by doing something similar to what we did on the white center. We just move this on the right layer. Also notice how I'm using wide R moves and R moves because we're trying our best to not disturb this first block here. So yeah, so to move this red edge out, we move this red edge in the R layer, take it out like that, and then put blue back in, and then put red down. Okay, now we're going to move these two edges over here like so, and find a yellow edge, so here it is, and just put it down with R move, R prime move, or if you have it down here, it will be R move. So now we're going to solve the triangles, and this is pretty simple. So make sure that this triangle specifically is not gray. So for example, let's say this triangle is gray. Make sure to move in a non-gray triangle into this position by doing this, like so. And then you're going to make sure you find a gray triangle on top layer. Now let's just say there is no gray triangle on top layer. You're going to do a wide R prime, and then you're going to move any of these gray triangles over here. So let's do this one. Then you're going to go up, and then so to take this triangle back here, we just use this out. Very simple. So it's just R prime U R. All right. So make sure, like I said, have this gray triangle on top here, and do R prime U R. So now you have a gray triangle on top layer. So now we're going to use the alg to solve this, and it's pretty simple. It's 5 moves. Here it is, also in the description. So what we're going to do here is do R U prime U R prime. So now this triangle is solved, and we do the same thing for this triangle. So move this triangle over here, and then find gray triangle, so it's not on top layer. Go over here, move this gray triangle over here, then move it out with R prime U R, and then move this triangle over here, and then we're going to insert this triangle over here by doing R U prime R prime U R prime. So now gray center should be done. So now move this to the back, and now we're going to move on to orange center. All right, so our second center is going to be orange, and it's going to be a little different from the first center, obviously, because we're a little bit more restricted, because we're trying our best to not disturb this center, and of course not disturb the white center. So things going to be a little bit different. So the first edge we're going to be looking for is the orange purple edge, and it's right here. So we're going to move this edge similar to gray center, what we did. We're going to move this edge down here. We're going to do that like so. Now we're going to find the blue edge. Blue edge is right here. It's on top layer. So we move this blue edge over here. Now let's just say you find the blue edge, but it's in this position and not on top layer. So if it's in here, it's very simple. So we just move this into the R layer, and then we move this out over here by doing R U R prime. All right, kind of like an FTO pair, you know. And then move this purple edge down here again, and move this blue edge back in. Yeah, so similar. So basically, we could move this blue edge over here by doing R U prime R prime. All right. So now what we're gonna do is move this edges to here, similar to what we did in gray center, like so. And now we're gonna move yellow in here, similar to how we inserted this blue edge by putting it over here and doing R U prime R prime. All right. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna insert the orange triangles into the second center. So we're looking for orange triangles, and you want to move one of the orange triangles to this position, like so. So it's kind of like what we did in gray center, you know. Try and make sure that this triangle over here is not orange, and we're gonna move this triangle into here. Now there are some cases where like, you know, you still have to do this position, but sometimes the orange triangle might end up in here, so it's fine. So the alg to insert this orange triangle to here, it's right here, so it's kind of long, so bear with me. It is actually, let me put it down here. Okay, so we do R U R prime U, R, U prime, R prime, U, R, U, R prime. All right. And like I said, it's that case where orange center might not end up here, but ends up here. It's kind of weird, but it still works. Now we're going to do the same thing for this triangle and make sure that this triangle is not orange. Orange triangle is over here. Same alg. You do R, U, R prime, U, R, U prime, R prime, U, R, U, R prime. So now orange center should be solved, and green center should be solved. So yeah, and everything else is fine. Before we move on to our next step, we're going to make sure that all the centers are oriented. We have to make sure that all yellow edges are on this layer. So here we have yellow, move it over here, and then you're going to do an R move, and then move this yellow over here, and then move this yellow over here. So now all the yellows should be over here. And sometimes like the D move might not be aligned, but honestly that doesn't really matter, because for this next step we're going to be solving this corner into this slot. So for solving this triple, we got to look for its triangles. So for this corner we have red and blue. We're going to be focusing on red first because it's at the bottom, and we're going to be looking for a red triangle, and we're going to first look in the E layer. So right here, this is red triangle. So now we're going to move it over here so it's matching, and then we're going to use the sledge alg like we talked about in the beginning. So make sure the corner is in front of you, and you do the sledge alg, R prime, L, R, L prime. So now this corner is out, so red triangle should be staying here, and now you're going to be moving on to the blue triangle. Now here for this case, same thing, we're going to be looking for a red triangle, but this time there is no red triangle in the E layer. So here you want to make sure, you want to check the top, and here's red triangle. So we're going to move this triangle into the E layer, and we're going to do that with either a sledge or a hedge, which is basically the inverse of a sledge. Now the thing is you want to note is that you don't want to insert this red edge into the E slot with this corner in the way. Make sure the corner is out of the way, so that way this color stays. And we're gonna put this triangle down depending on where it is. So here, since it's on the left side, we're going to be using hedge. So how hedge works is right here. So it's L, R prime, L prime, R. So red is here, and now we match it up with the corner. And here, let's say that the red triangle is on the right side. So it's gonna be, you're gonna use the sledge. So R prime, L, R, L prime. And then red triangle should be here. This corner should match. Now for this case, we're gonna be looking for red triangle. There's no red triangle in this E layer, and there's also no red triangle in this top layer. So for this case, the red triangles are both in this bottom slot. So we're gonna move these triangles out. You wanna move this corner out of the way, and we're gonna move these triangles out using, this out right here. So it's R prime, L, R, L, all right? So make sure that the bottom slot is on the left side, by the way. So you don't wanna move over here. Make sure that the slot is over here, and you do R prime, L prime, R, L. So now you should have both red triangles out, and you should match it up depending on where the red triangle is. So here we have one on E layer, so we can match it up, and we have a red triangle. Now, for this case here, there's no red triangle in the E layer, and there is a red triangle on the top layer. However, the red triangle is on the opposite side of this corner. Now, to fix this, it's a really long solution, and I don't recommend learning how to do that. So instead, I suggest looking for the other red triangle. Here we have one in the bottom. So again, like I did right here, move this corner out of the way, have the slot on the left, and move this out by doing R prime, L, L prime, R, L. And then match it up with the corner, and then solve like so. All right, so now we're moving on to the next triangle. For this corner, it's blue, and we have to look for a blue triangle. So we have one here and on top of here. So let's use this blue triangle. Like I did before, we move this corner out of the way, and depending on where the blue triangle is, so here it's gonna be on the left side, we're gonna be using Hedge, like so, and then we match up the corner with this triangle. So now that we have this corner that is solved, we're gonna insert it in this bottom slot. So you wanna make sure that the bottom slot is it should be like next to this corner, but you also have to make sure that the white corner is facing away from this corner. So let's just say I move the slot over here. Now the white is facing this slot. If I insert the corner in here, it's flipped. So make sure that the slot is over here, okay? So the alg to insert this corner into this slot is so the bottom slot is on the left side, so we're using this alg here. So it's R prime, L prime, R, L. All right. Now for the other case where we have same thing, solve corner, and we're making sure that we have our slot next to this corner. We're not going to be moving over here this time because the white is facing this bottom slot, and like I said, if we insert it, it's going to be flipped. So we have to move the slot over here so the white's facing away from it. I'm going to be using this alg because the bottom slot is on the right this time. So similar to this alg, we do L, R, L prime, R prime. So now you should have your first layer solved and your centers should still be solved. So like here, same thing. The bottom layer is solved and your first centers should be solved. Now doing U moves on this next step is fine. You can do U moves. All right. Now this next step is going to be a little tricky, so I suggest you better pay attention to this one. You do not want to mess up. So what we do next is called TCP. So what you want to do is you want to set up your last 3 triangles into this case where you have, one triangle here. It should look like this. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but we have corner here, we have yellow matching, and no yellows over here. Now there's a lot of cases here, and here's like one of the cases. So basically what you want to do is you want to like just set it up into this. All right, so that's what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna break down every case, and I'm not gonna give you guys like the full solution of like every case, but I will give you guys an idea of how to approach every case. The first case I want to go over is the case where you have all yellow oriented. So let's just say here all the pieces are solved. You basically skip TCP, and now we're on to the last 3 triangles. So you're actually good on this one. Now, let's say you have this case where all yellow is oriented, but the pieces aren't solved. So see here that the corners need to be swapped. So for this case, I would suggest just do a sledge no matter what angle you are in, and now you're on TCP. So you should be good here. So for this case, you want to bring this corner that is solved, and then you're going to move this solved corner up here in the front and do a sledge like so. So now you have a better case to solve. Okay, so the next set of cases is that we're going to be looking at cases with 2 yellow triangles on top, and here we have this case where we have 2 corners that are twisted. So here there's something that I want you guys to learn about. So we're going to be learning about pairs. So basically like so you want to be looking for a pair that's on top. So it could be yellow or a non-yellow pair. So like this pair, for example, this is a bad pair because it's not yellow or yellow, it's just a mix of both. So make sure that we look for a good pair, which would be both non-yellow or full yellow. Now, for this case specifically, we want to use this non-yellow pair, and I'll explain why. So what you want to do is you also want to look for good pairs over here, this pair and this pair. So let's rotate over here, rotate again. So now, so our good pair is still over here. Make sure it's on top left, and make sure we have a good pair here. So non-yellow, so that's good, and then we have a full yellow, so that's good. So once you have all good pairs, just do a sledge, and you have TCP. Now, if we did but the yellow pair on top left, we would never have good pairs. So here, bad pair, this is good pair, do a YD move, good pair, bad pair, bad pair, bad pair. So we can never have two good pairs if we use this pair in the top left. So make sure you use this pair in the top left. So now we can get good, good, do a sledge. Now you're on TCP. Now, for this case here, 2 yellow triangles on top. For this case, you could use any pair to go on top left. So you can use this pair or this pair, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that both these pairs are good. So right now, of course, this is a bad pair because this is non-yellow and this is yellow. This is both non-yellow, so that's good. So we can do a D move. Now it's non-yellow, non-yellow, so that's good. And we have this pair, or we could use this pair as well. Either one, just make sure that these 2 pairs are good. We do a sledge, and now you're on TCP. There's actually one more case that I forgot to mention. It's where we have 2 solved triangles on top. We have 2 twisted corners. You want to look for the oriented triangle, so put it in front, and make sure you have a good pair in front. So you don't really have to care about what's the good pairs on top. So we have no good pairs on top, and also don't care about this one here. So just care about the front pair. Do a D move, and now we have a good pair. Do a sledge, and you should have a good case. So now we're on this case where we have 1 yellow triangle on top, and for this case it's 2 corners that are twisted. So you want to look for a good pair on top. So here we only have 1 good pair, so make sure that this good pair is on the top left. And same thing, we're going to be looking for good pairs here. So this is bad. Do a YD move, good. Yeah, so this stays here. This is good, this is good. So now you know that you could do a sledge, and you should be at TCP. Okay, so for this case, where you have all corners oriented, and you have 1 yellow triangle. So what you want to do is you want to move this yellow pair up here. Now the thing about this case is that you can't have both good pairs for here. So right here, for example, this is all bad. So bad, bad, do a D move. Now it's bad here, but it's good here. But at this case, like if you have at least 1 good pair, you could do a sledge and you'll get a better case. Yeah, so yeah, this is the case where you have to do another case. So like this case, move on to this case, okay? So you can also do at this angle here, so this is good pair, bad pair, but because we have 1 good pair, do a sledge, and now we have a better case, all right? Now for the final set is where we have no yellow triangles on top. So here for this case, you could be at any angle you want. Just do a sledge, and you should get a better case. Now this case here is probably the worst case. So we have no yellow triangles here, and we have all yellow corners oriented. So you could be at any angle you want, and all you have to do is just do a sledge, and you should have this case pretty much. So now we're going to moving on to TCP. So for TCP, there are 3 cases. For the first case here, we have the bar, this long bar that is away from each other. So if it's a bar that is away from each other, we're going to be doing sledge, which we already went over. So make sure you're at this angle, do a sledge, and now you should be on your last 2 triangles. So next case is when you have the bar that is in front of you. So if the bar is in front of you, then we have to do a hedge. So make sure you rotate at this angle and do the hedge alg. So L, R, L prime R. Sorry, hold on. It's L, R prime L, L prime R. And you're on your last 2 triangles. Now, for the final case is when you have no bar or small bar, whatever you want to call it. So if you have a small bar where it's not pointing anywhere, so you have to use this alg, and it's easy to learn. So basically you just have to do R prime L, and then you gotta rotate to this bottom right corner like so, and then do a sledge like so, rotate back up, so like here, and then do R L prime, and now you're on your last 2 triangles. So now we're on the final step of the FTO, and there are 4 cases of, well, actually 3 cases, 3 cases of last 3 triangles. So for this case here, if you see no triangles that need to be solved, then you skip last 3 triangles and you solved FTO. Now, for this case here, so of course do AOF. For this case here, we just have to swap these 2 triangles. This triangle solved, so just these 2 triangles that need to be solved. So for this case here, you want to rotate where you have basically the 2 triangles on top layer. So you want to be at this angle, and we're going to use this alg over here. So the alg goes like this: wide R, U, R prime, U prime, wide R prime, R, U, R, U prime, R prime. And we solved it. For like the cases where it's 3 triangles, it doesn't matter what angle you want to be on. Just make sure that you're at this angle where the yellow is on the left. I kind of forgot to mention that. So here for the, like I said, colors are going clockwise. So clockwise alg, we do D, R prime, U, R prime, U prime, wide R, R prime, U, R, U prime, R prime, wide R prime, R prime, D prime. Now for this case, where colors are going counterclockwise, rotate over here, make sure yellow is on left. You do D, R, wide R, U, R prime, U prime, wide R prime, R, U prime, R, D prime.